There are 9 reasons Kamala Harris lost the election. Number 1, she simply started too late. Biden dropped out on July 21st, giving Harris just 107 days to launch and run a campaign. For comparison, Trump launched his campaign right after the 2022 midterm elections, giving him 721 days to campaign, a full 7 times longer than Kamala. Number 2, once your campaign got off the ground, it never addressed the real concerns, material needs that Americans are experiencing. First, she focused on joy, then on how bad Trump was, and threats to democracy, which are real but not something people who can't afford to live care much about. Basically, she never fully presented a plan to address how and expensive everyday life is for ordinary Americans. 60% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, and the overwhelming majority want Medicare for all. But Kamala's main response was tax breaks for entrepreneurs and new parents, not exactly a drive everyday voters to the polls strategy. Number 3, we can't not address the elephant in the room. A lot of Americans are deeply racist and misogynistic. Thanks to the West's deeply ingrained patriarchy, any woman trying to become president is going to have an uphill battle, and any woman of color is going to have an even harder time thanks to also deeply ingrained, sometimes covert, sometimes overt racism. Number 4, that said, Donald Trump, while a disaster of a human being, ran some remarkably effective ads and ran them ad nauseum.
Kamala is for they, them. President Trump is for you.
Trump's campaign crafted attack ads that stoked fear and transphobia, portraying himself as a defender of traditional family values and the working class, despite the fact he's actually a billionaire adulterer and rapist. But because the human brain naturally starts to believe things it's told over and over, enough repetition and propaganda make anything believable. Number 5, that of course was helped by the massive propaganda and disinformation machine that is right-wing media. Not only do they promote everything Trump says as absolute truth, they cast doubt on anything and everything his opponents say. This is true of both Fox News and the smaller operations that feed into and off of it. The Democrats have absolutely nothing like it, and throughout the campaign, Kamala refused to engage with leftist creators who refused to toe the party line, like Hassan Piker. Number 6, for whatever reason, Kamala refused to break with Joe Biden. She had a perfect opportunity to on The View, but this was all she could muster.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Which of course was turned into a masterful attack ad by the Trump campaign. Number 7, and the place where Kamala could have and should have broken with Biden was over Gaza. The campaign missed a huge opportunity to reach out and connect with voters who oppose genocide, even refusing to let a Democratic Palestinian lawmaker from Georgia who supports Kamala Harris from speaking at the convention.
You blew it. Super hard. Complete buffoonery. It's hilarious and you deserve it.
Number 8, and on top of that, she could just not do interviews. One of Obama's top advisors even said on CNN that her answer to this question,
What do you say to voters who are thinking about supporting a third-party candidate or staying on the couch, not voting at all because of this issue?
was, quote, word salad city. And number 9, what Americans right now are desperate for is change, and Kamala refused to offer change. Donald Trump is all about change, and America voted for him. Over the summer, a poll from the New York Times said nearly 70% of Americans thought our political and economic system should either be majorly changed or torn down completely. Decades of neoliberalism from both Republicans and Democrats that put the interests of huge corporations and billionaires ahead of the working class caused this country's greatest crisis since the Great Depression, and Kamala Harris offered more of the same. Donald Trump, for better or worse, likely much worse, offered to blow it all up, and that message is the message voters chose. One thing that is absolutely clear is that this period of neoliberalism and unfettered capitalism, the age of Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton, is officially over. The real question is, what comes next?